All right, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Stay tuned, because at the end of the show, Fantasy Feud for the first time this year. You guys excited?
Dan.
I am also excited. I cannot wait. We've got buy lows, sell highs. But you know what we don't usually do? We don't usually do buy highs. How about the guys who are just off to great starts? Are we buying them, or do we have actually a sell high window on them? Guys like Romo Dunze or Rico Dowdle or Quinshon Judkins. Where are we on those guys? But also trade targets, who to get while the value is low and who to sell while the value is high. Everybody good? How we feeling here? You guys get your Kamani Vidals?
I wound up getting Vidal in a bunch of leagues for like 3% and 2% of fab.
Nice.
So like word got out about Naheem Miller-Hines signing with the Chargers. Like that's their big ad. And he might be there more for special teams than anything else. I don't know how good he is. He hasn't carried the ball in an NFL game since 2022. But I feel the fantasy world's uncertainty with the Chargers backfield, and I totally get it. I probably am not going to start Vidal against Miami, but we can see what happens and see how the Chargers running backs are used.
It's the same thing as last week. Is every site that I go to look for Vidal, Haskins higher in the projections. So Haskins last week we saw DeMarcado, I think, was added in more CBS leagues,
way more
than Michael Carter was, because people just go to the projections and they add the top guy at the list. That's why it's also a really good idea with the buys going on. Like, go through your normal waivers process and then change the setting from next week's projections to rest of season projections, because there will be guys on buy who have been dropped because somebody can't use them, and you can pick them up now if you have room to hold them and have better players rest of season.
In all of my CBS leagues, which I think were about 10 that run waivers on Tuesday night, Vidal went first or went for more fab than Haskins. In all of my non-CBS leagues, Haskins went first and went for more fab.
No kidding. Well, if you are...
And all my non-CBS leagues are all analyst leagues. So I think we might be one of the few places that are higher on Vidal than Haskins.
Interesting. So I looked at the FFT open leagues, not all of them, but most of them. And just to give you a general sense, if you still have fab that's running tonight. Now, these leagues, I'm a little more aggressive in fab in these leagues. I don't know if other people are, but we have a shortened season, so you don't need it as long, the fab. So I'm a little, I got Haskins. I got Vidal. I got Vidal for $12, $100 original budget. I got him for $12. Nobody in my league claimed Haskins, but I'll just tell you the dollar amounts out of an original $100 budget that Kamani Vidal went for in like a bunch of FFT open leagues: 24, 20, 20, 24, 14, 12, 7, 22, 19, 23. And Haskins was kind of in usually about $4 or $5 less than that. All right, that's enough on that topic.
Did you see our podcast league? What do you went for?
Oh, he went for something like 30 something in our league.
46 in our podcast league, and the next highest bid was 17.
That's a 14-team league, so there's desperation there.
I got Vidal in one league from a fab standpoint, and I did the number on purpose just to see if I would get him. I got Vidal in our Baked Burger league for $38.
Out of how much?
I had 85 remaining, but you know why I did $38?
Oh, the Schaefer.
Because the Schaefer Wentz. I want to see which $38 will be worth more.
All right. We've got some news and notes for you. The Bengals acquired Joe Flacco and a 6th-round pick from Cleveland for a 5th-round pick. Cleveland, 27th in pressure rate allowed. So Flacco is not very mobile and was behind a line that wasn't really protecting him. But guess what? The Bengals are 30th. Only the Jets and, shockingly, the Eagles are worse in pressure rate allowed per dropback than Cincinnati.
Eagles' offensive line has not been as good as normal.
Watch out. Here come the Giants. Bengals have at Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Jets, Chicago, and then a bye. Anyway, how big of a boost, Keith, how big of a boost? I was joking, by the way. How big of a boost for Chase and Higgins for you?
Clip that one, Azer.
Oh, here come the Giants.
I was joking, I swear.
Oh, I love it. I think it's more of a theoretical boost. I'm not sure what Joe Flacco has been for the Browns so far this year gives them any boost at all. But Joe Flacco in 2023 and 2024 is more encouraging than Jake Browning in 2023. And Joe Flacco has been an NFL quarterback for, a decade and a half now. So there's more hope. And I think the biggest mover is probably Higgins. We never really moved Chase out of must-start territory. Higgins, for me, was like not even thinking about it, starting him with Jake Browning. The target share was disgusting. The efficiency was disgusting. Now there's hope that T. Higgins can be a starter.
Okay. And yeah, I guess we'll get into that. I think we have Higgins in our buy low, sell high segment as well. If you're drafting today, well, first, again, I said this yesterday. I'll say it again. They haven't said that Joe Flacco is their starter yet. Right? We're waiting to see. Maybe he won't start this week, and then we'll start after that.
I mean, it would be the greatest story ever, right?
Oh, wait, hold on. This just came through from Captain Obvious. Joe Flacco's a starter this week. Hate to tell you.
I don't think it's so obvious this week to get traded on a Tuesday and start on a Sunday. But, just throwing it out there. It hasn't been announced yet. Captain, I haven't seen the tweet from Captain Obvious, but I'll take a look. The Chargers signed Nyheim Hines to their practice squad. So we that hasn't really moved the needle for us. Jaylen Warren trending in the right direction. Joe Mixon is apparently making progress. They haven't committed to him coming back. It still seems like it's a long way off if it happens at all. But
I thought Tetairoa said weeks.
Well, yeah, but I think they said they'd update it. They'd have an update soon. But what do you make of the Mixon news?
I mean, if we see Joe Mixon at all this season, it's somewhat of a bonus if he's on your IR spot right now. Like, you can't expect him to help you as a fantasy manager.
Yeah.
We don't know if he'll even be any good. What kind of condition is he going to be in?
We just don't know if he's even going to play this year still.
Right. Think of all the hurdles that are in front of Joe Mixon right now. I don't mind stashing him in an IR spot.
Yeah. Brenton Strange is on IR. Arizona offensive coordinator Drew Petzing said he could have gotten Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball more in week 5. Every other week, maybe. Baltimore.
Substitute week 5 for forever.
Exactly. Baltimore signed C.J. Gardner-Johnson and traded for Alohi Gilman. That's 2 safeties that the Ravens acquired here. And they traded away an edge rusher, Odafe Owe, to the Chargers. But obviously, Baltimore needs help in the secondary. They've got the Rams. I'm sure you guys like Matthew Stafford quite a bit this week. Eagles guard Landon Dickerson could miss 1 to 2 games. They got the Giants on Thursday. Here come the Giants. And Saquon Barkley was limited, but he's expected to play. Tyrone Tracy trending in the right direction. You got 2 questionable players for the Giants. You got right tackle Jermaine Illuminor, who's had a very good year for them, and wide receiver Darius Slayton. According to ESPN, Illuminor has a better chance of playing than Slayton. The Lions got good news. Looked like their cornerback Terrion Arnold was going to be out maybe for the season, but he got better news than expected, and he will not miss the season. And Tennessee tight end Gunnar Helm could see more targets going forward, and the Titans waived wide receiver Treylon Burks, former first-round pick.
You have Colson Loveland?
No.
He didn't practice yesterday.
Yeah, coming off their bye, he did not practice.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
Okay, thank you for that. So, buy low, sell high. Jamie, why don't we start? You've got Omarion Hampton, who, makes sense. I mentioned it yesterday. I saw some people in my league trading for Hampton, trading for Trey Benson. So I'll let you talk about that. And then T. Higgins is your buy low. Talk about Hampton and Higgins.
Well, I think anytime you have an injured player, especially for a team that may be sub 500 or struggling with their roster. I know there's one league I have where the Hampton manager is trying to make a bunch of trades because they also have Lamar Jackson hurt, and I think Brenton Strange was their tight end. So, this is your opportunity to hopefully get a difference maker at the end of the season or 4 weeks from now, when he's, I hope, eligible to come back. We haven't heard really the severity of the injury. The fact that he was placed on IR right away is not the best situation, but maybe just to protect him from, re-injuring himself. In any event, if you can get a player like this, it's the same thing with the injured guys. We've been saying this in this segment for several weeks now. Go trade for Mike Evans, go trade for Rashee Rice because of suspension when he's coming back. Any team that's struggling, that has these players on their bench, that, especially in the, not the case of Hampton, because you could stash them on IR. If they're taking up a roster spot for somebody, like, that's even worse. So try and help them, give them players that are, doing something now. help yourself out, that you can, have a potential superstar down the stretch. In the case of T. Higgins, every T. Higgins manager hates him right now and is frustrated with him right now. Understandably so. It's been awful. You got lucky with the touchdown last week. There is a semblance of hope, as Heath said. It's probably a theoretical boost for these guys, more so than an actual boost for these guys. But if there's one thing that we know Joe Flacco will do, he will throw the ball down the field, and hopefully with more success than what we saw from Jake Browning. So if you can get T. Higgins cheap, why not try to do it just to see what he still has to offer? So I would say, like, of the struggling guys that have been bad at the top of the draft, in the cases of Brian Thomas Jr. and Ladd McConkey and T. Higgins, there's now something different for T. Higgins. And so if you can get a few weeks of peak T. Higgins from Joe Flacco, which I don't think is out of the realm of possibility, and then he gets you to the end of the season in your fantasy playoffs and Joe Burrow returns, you may have made a season-altering trade for probably next to nothing. So it's worth exploring to see if the T. Higgins manager would be willing to do so.
Okay, I'm going to look at the most traded list. I can't imagine you'd give up. I'm going to just tell me who you would think of giving up for T. Higgins. I'm sure most of them are going to be no's at the top. Well, not necessarily, but A.J. Brown.
No.
Brian Thomas Jr. for T. Higgins.
I would do that, yes.
I'd rather have Thomas. There were little glimpses of hope last week. I'll take Thomas.
J.K. Dobbins for Higgins.
Rather have the running back.
That would be more of need. I probably would lean in vacuum. In what was the phrase you once made famous?
In a blanket.
In a blanket. I'd rather have Dobbins in a blanket.
I mean, to me, they're not even close. Right? Dobbins is giving me 15 fantasy points every single week, and Higgins is giving me 6, basically, unless he catches a lucky touchdown. I can't even imagine trading Dobbins for Higgins. But, I mean, I do see how Dobbins could be a sell high because he gets 1 catch a week, and he scores a touchdown to buoy him every week.
And he gets hurt every year.
But I don't know. I mean, it's just their production has been so different that I can't even imagine doing that. But you said it's, close. Okay. Is anybody feeling my vibe there? I guess I just don't. I don't know. I'm nervous about Higgins still.
Yeah, no, I'd want another running back with Higgins for Dobbins, a lower end running back. Maybe you could get TreVeyon and Higgins for Dobbins.
Now we're talking.
Oh yeah, TreVeyon. I can't wait to get TreVeyon Henderson. I love the guy who's getting 6 touches. But all right, we'll talk about him soon. I do have to tell you though. No. I mean, I understand. Look, he's one of Dave's buy lows. I was just having fun with it. But it's time for football at BetMGM. Register with BetMGM to get instant access to the best variety of parlay selection features, no sweat and boost tokens, live betting options, and much more. New players can receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets with the bonus code FANTASY if they don't win their first bet. You don't want to miss out on any of the hard-hitting action at BetMGM. Place your money line, parlay bets, and more today. BetMGM, make it legendary. And the bonus code is FANTASY. Okay, Heath, you got Tetairoa McMillan. He has the most targets among wide receivers and probably among any position without a touchdown. 43 targets, no touchdowns for McMillan, and Nico Collins as a buy low. So Tetairoa McMillan and Nico Collins.
Yeah, I think this is the McMillan one's probably an obvious one. And if you're in one of our analyst leagues, you're probably not going to have a lot of luck buying low on him because, as Adams made the good point, we're viewing Tetairoa McMillan as much better than what he's produced so far. But we also know that in a lot of regular people fantasy leagues, if you are not scoring touchdowns and you're not producing like more than a wide receiver 3, you are available for purchase. And I do expect, listen, last week was supposed to be the get right game, but now he gets the Cowboys. And he's just one explosion away from everybody viewing him as a top 15 wide receiver rest of the season. See if you can go get Tetairoa McMillan for even low end wide receiver 2 price, which is better than what he's been so far this year.
Finally had multiple red zone targets in a game. That's part of the problem with him. He only has 5 red zone targets on the year. He had 2 last week. They need to get him more involved so he gets those opportunities to score, and we can break this spell that he's under where he gets a lot of targets and then he doesn't get any touchdowns.
I'd like to know how many red zone passes Bryce Young has thrown this year.
Give me a minute.
But yeah, and then Nico Collins, Adam, you did a brilliant job of trading for Nico Collins last night. I was going to make you an offer for Christian McCaffrey. It wasn't going to be as good as that one. He's going on to his bye. So if you've got a team that's already feeling pretty good about your chances and you can afford to go without a wide receiver, or you're just deep at wide receiver, you can afford to go without a wide receiver. He's not been anywhere close to as good as he can be. And I would expect in the second half of the season, the Texans offense is a little bit better. Nico is a lot better and produces like a top 12 wide receiver.
Dave, I got 30 red zone targets for Carolina, only 5 of them going to Tetairoa McMillan. Very spread out. 6 for Renfro, 5 for Leggett, 5 for Sanders, 5 for McMillan, 3 for Hubbard, 3 for Tremble. So he's not a big factor there. He does get most of their deep ball targets. If Bryce Young's looking for an explosive play, it's almost always McMillan. Now, Nico, I traded Christian McCaffrey and Christian Kirk for Kyron Williams and Nico Collins yesterday. I'm hoping this works out. I mean, honestly, McCaffrey's been, I think, almost 10 fantasy points better than Kyron Williams in full PPR. But Heath, you brought it up a couple weeks ago, McCaffrey, if Kittle and Pearsall and Jennings, forget about Ayuk. I mean, that could be a long way, but he could be back eventually. If they're all finally on the field, maybe he's not going to get 8 targets a game or whatever he's getting. So, and he's running the ball so poorly.
It's not just that. Like, I think he has like a 33% target share.
Yeah.
He's certainly not going to get that if Kittle and the wide receivers are back.
But
and the
Nico,
run game's awful.
I'm a little worried about Nico. I mean, not that he's not a buy low, but Jacob pointed this out on me on the box score. Over the last 2 weeks, CJ Stroud has been getting the ball out of his hand faster than any quarterback in football other than Mac Jones and Aaron Rodgers, who only played 1 game in that 2-game stretch. I think they've adjusted their offense because their line is so bad that they can't sit there in the pocket and throw. Because last year, he was the 6th slowest getting the ball out of his hands, CJ Stroud. Last 2 weeks, 3rd fastest. It's only 2 weeks. But if they just have this kind of quick, short area passing game, I mean, I guess I'm thinking that Nico's probably not going to live up to the hype, but it could still be better than what he's been.
He has 6 targets and 5 targets in those last 2 games. His ADOT is about the same as it's been. His ADOT's been like double digits over the last 3 games. So that's not affected, but certainly the volume has.
All right, Dave. I'm sorry, just to wrap it up, I don't want to get the last word there. Heath, do you have that concern that Nico, what do you think he'll be? Kind of second round good, first round good going forward?
I think second round good would be my expectation. And maybe instead of early second round, it's late second round. But I think if they get better at getting the ball out quicker, that may affect some of the ways defenses are covering them, which could open up some opportunities for Nico down the field.
He's the new Tyreek Hill.
I don't think anyone that has Nico Collins is going to view him that way. I think they all still view him as a top 10 type of fantasy receiver. And so you're not going to, I think you're going to have a really hard time acquiring him that low in trade.
Oh, I kind of just did.
Yeah.
Well, you gave
a great
Christian
trade for
McCaffrey. It was a great trade for you, but I
just think we should
overpay for McCaffrey more than anything else.
I don't think, I understand, Dave. I think you're right that none of us are going to view Nico Collins that way. But a lot of people 5 weeks into the season, a guy just is what he's produced.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a break and get Dave's buy lows when we come back. All right, Dave. Let's go ahead. Say it. TreVeyon Henderson and Derrick Henry, 2 running back buy lows for you.
And now's the time to start going after some running back buy lows because of all the injuries that we have at that position. So I thought I'd go after 2 that I think you can get at a discount, certainly compared to draft day and certainly after maybe the first 5 weeks of the season where they're at. It's a little jarring. Henry's kind of an easy case. What we're seeing now from the Ravens offense isn't really the Ravens offense. I don't think he necessarily looks bad. I think he looks the same as he did last year. Tons of short runs last week. He was bottled up at the line. It was against Houston. I don't think the line was particularly good for Baltimore, but the efficiency will go back up once Lamar's back. The defense will get healthy eventually for Baltimore, and the Ravens will go back to being the Ravens. That's the hope. You're also able, and this is for sure, I don't think anybody that drafted Derrick Henry thinks of him as a top 10 type running back moving forward, and they shouldn't. But that's the type of player that you can get at a discount. This is the lowest you've ever been able to get Derrick Henry in trade. And if you're evaluating him as like a top 15 running back, I think you'll get him. And that's somebody that if you're really thin at the running back position, you don't want to deal with Chargers running backs off the waiver wire. You don't want to, cut deals for even cheaper guys. That's one to get. And with Henderson, Patriots lost a running back. Antonio Gibson done for the year. That three-way backfield split should go to 2 running backs now. And Ramondre's got a lock on goal line work, it seems like, as long as he doesn't fumble again or like 6 more times. But I think eventually TreVeyon Henderson will get into the mix, and his price is super cheap compared to, especially where we were drafting him, but also where his ADP was. It would be much lower than that if we were redrafting for the rest of the season. And I still believe in the talent there, and the opportunities should get larger. I also have the Patriots running back rest of season schedule projected as second best. So it's a really good schedule for the Patriots moving forward. That's good for Stevenson if you want to try and get him on the cheap, but it's Henderson who I think is the one that you should go after.
Is it too risky to just say I'm going to wait one more week to buy low on Derrick Henry after another bad game against the Rams, and then he's going into his bye and his manager's just in complete panic?
No, that's just as good, if not better.
Yeah, if he has a good game, then you're in trouble. But I see the logic there. And I think if you're someone who picked up Michael Carter and don't need Michael Carter, that's the kind of guy you would trade for TreVeyon Henderson, right?
Sure.
Of course. Yep.
Yeah. And it could work for the other manager, right? You give someone they might be able to use now, and you just take this high upside stash. I wanted to bring up one guy and get your thoughts as a potential buy low. DeAndre Swift. He's averaging 3.2 or 3.3 yards per carry. So that's concerning because his yards per carry was bad last year too. But his role is really good. He's had a pretty tough schedule, DeAndre Swift. They've only had 2 carries inside the 5-yard line all year. He has both of them. Swift has 3 or 4 catches in every game, so that's good. But he's got Washington this week. They're really good against the run. Then after that, New Orleans, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Giants. So good.
Yes.
It does get tougher after that. I have to say, like his second half schedule might be hard, but he's got a month maybe where DeAndre Swift has a very good schedule. I love the role. I just don't really like what he's doing out there, but I don't know. What do you think? Should we be looking to buy low on Swift?
How active are you in your league? Because I would love to buy low on DeAndre Swift if I felt like a month from now I could sell high on him. I hate the end of season schedule for the Bears offense and for DeAndre Swift. But the next 5 weeks, I do think he will be better than what he has been. His expected fantasy points, his role imply more fantasy points than he has scored. So yeah, if you got an active league and you like making trades and you think I can trade for DeAndre Swift right now and 5 weeks from now I can make another move and get rid of DeAndre Swift, and I like that a lot.
All right. Let's go to our sell highs. Dave, you have a couple of wide receivers who have number one, well, potentially number one for Deebo, wide receivers coming back. And we don't know when, but hopefully soon for McLaurin and Lamb. So you have Deebo Samuel and George Pickens. By the way, before I forget, Darius Slayton not expected to play. We're going to preview that game later. But Dave, you have Deebo Samuel and George Pickens.
It's exactly what you laid out. It's really as simple as that. When McLaurin comes back, I expect the target volume to go down for Deebo Samuel, not to a point where he's going to suck, but where he's not going to be as good as he's been. And the same thing for George Pickens. So these are going to be great number 2 receivers on their own teams. They'll still be like borderline number 2 wide receivers for fantasy. Like if you hit them now from a desperate manager that needs wide receiver help, the guys that have been struggling through with, think of the names that we've already talked about, T. Higgins, Brian Thomas Jr., the list goes on. They could use receivers like this, and they might buy into them based on what they've done so far. I think we've seen the best, certainly from Deebo. And we'll still see some good games from Pickens because the Cowboys are going to throw a ton. But I bet he'll be more inconsistent once CeeDee Lamb comes back. And we saw that in the first 2 games of the year. He had one great game and he had one terrible game. So if you can get something for these guys, it just makes sense to move them while you can before the number 1s on their team come back.
You got to get a lot, though.
You can't give them away. You're not trading one of them straight up for TreVeyon Henderson. But if you can trade one of them straight up for Derrick Henry, I think I'd do that, especially if it's half or non.
Heath?
Non, yes. And I'd probably be more willing to sell Pickens than I would Deebo. But I think I had Deebo ahead of Pickens. So I think it probably just depends on who you liked before the number 1 wasn't there. I think the Pickens Lamb target share going back is much more certain than the McLaurin Deebo target share going back.
Interesting.
I think both these guys are still heavily involved, even when the guys return, because the Cowboys throw the ball so much.
Agreed.
And, you just saw Flournoy have a big game. Like there's a lot of room to eat in this offense, even with Jake Ferguson too. Like they're going to be in a lot of shootouts, and it's not going to be the same heights. So Dave's right. Like you're getting peak value for these guys if you could do it. But I think in the case of like Deebo, for example, he may be the number one right now. Like, McLaurin's never had to deal with a player like this. And Cliff Kingsbury's probably having a lot of fun with a player like this. He only runs 3 routes, so he's doing very well in that regard. But I think in the case of both of these guys, you could see still sustained value because of the type of players that they are and the offenses that they're in. I made a trade, it was somewhat out of desperation. I got lucky to beat Heath without, I didn't, this is how bad it is. I have to fix some of my notifications. I didn't even realize I made the trade. So I made a trade in our draftathon league. I traded CeeDee Lamb for Deebo Samuel and Quentin Johnston, and I didn't even start Deebo. So like that was embarrassing. But I was 1-3, 1-4. What was it last week? 1-3. No, 1-4. Excuse me. No, 1-3, and lost Tyreek Hill and didn't have CeeDee Lamb. So I was desperate for receiver help, and so traded Lamb for those receivers.
Yeah. Well, so I'm doing a poll right now on Twitter. I have a feeling I know how it's going to end, but if both are healthy, who is the better Commanders wide receiver rest of season? And right now, it's only 31 votes, but 2/3 of them go to Deebo. I think people are going to go with Deebo. That doesn't mean he's not a sell high. But yeah, so Deebo had a 26% target share with Terry McLaurin on the field. It's 31% with him off the field. But yeah, he's doing well, and hopefully they both can be good. I think you said they'd be number 2 wide receivers when their guys are back
on their own teams, and low end number 2 receivers in fantasy. Deebo more than Pickens.
All right. Heath says Jake Ferguson, kind of on the same subject here, is a sell high. I believe he leads the position in targets. It's either him or McBride. And then there's Emeka Egbuka.
We might as well sell high today, right? Might as well sell the number 1 tight end in fantasy and the number 3 wide receiver in fantasy. Like for Ferguson, I think his target share is going to be more impacted by Lamb because they work more in the same part of the field. The first 2 weeks of the season, Ferguson had a 21% target share. Pickens had a 15% target share. And the general expectation from everybody was that's going to be closer the rest of the way. If we thought George Pickens was going to have a 15% target share when CeeDee Lamb gets back, we wouldn't be saying buy low on him. We'd just be saying you can plan on leaving on somebody else's team. And right now, since Lamb's been out, it's a 27% target share for Ferguson, which is insane for a tight end, and a 21% target share for Pickens. So I think when Lamb comes back, you see that 27% for Ferguson move a larger share than you do the 21% for Pickens. I think Ferguson's probably in that tight end 8 to 10 range when Lamb's back. And right now he's just destroying the position. And what more importantly, maybe you decide which of those 2, Pickens or Ferguson, do you think is the sell high? Because they can't both be anywhere close to what they are right now when CeeDee Lamb's back.
But I guess the question would be is like for Ferguson, which tight end are you pivoting to? So like if you think like you can get by with the streaming options and turn Ferguson into Bowers with the idea of Bowers being Bowers, like that's a great trade.
Right. I think that's the ideal trade.
So like that's the type of, and maybe even McBride, the McBride manager might be frustrated and says, okay, let's do something and Ferguson for McBride and something else, again, to sort of get the immediate upgrade of what Ferguson has been. But like, you got to have a pretty good tight end backup option. You got to have a pretty good plan B, because I think even if he does take the expected hit, which clearly there's going to be a hit, like he's still probably middle of the pack at worst in the offense that he plays in.
Mason Taylor, Darren Waller.
Well,
Would
so here's
those
the
be good
thing.
Plan Bs.
It's one of
Yeah,
it's
those are
one,
great. Yeah.
it's one of two things. I'm trying to do. I think the Bowers thing makes the most sense because if you have Jake Ferguson, you ought to have a very, very good record. And a lot of teams with Brock Bowers, I can speak from experience, do not. And so that's like the perfect trade because the Bowers manager doesn't know when he's getting him back and must win now. And Ferguson's the number 1 tight end this week. If you don't do that, then you're trying to get a really good player at another position and just settle for having a borderline top 12 tight end.
Do you believe we're going to get 2024 Brock Bowers at any point this year?
I would think after the bye at worst.
Well, if you're hoping for close to that, because I don't know if he's even going to get to that. I mean, again, there's a offense change, there's quarterback change, there's a lot of things that happen differently. But let's just say he's close to that. You're hoping that Ferguson gets significantly worse than that.
Right. And I have a hard time buying into. I think Ferguson, I don't think he's going to be.
Ferguson, I guess the question would be are you expecting Ferguson to go to sub 10 points?
I would not say sub 10 points. I would expect Ferguson
sub 12?
Yes.
So between 10 and 12 points per game.
Yes.
So that's a huge drop off. So then you're obviously trying to get rid of him.
And I think if he's not, the whole key to this is CeeDee Lamb could come back. Like we're asking, is Brock Bowers going to be himself at any point this year? Is CeeDee Lamb? We're all kind of assuming that CeeDee Lamb is going to be himself. If CeeDee Lamb's himself and Jake Ferguson scoring more than 12 fantasy points per game, I would be selling very quickly on George Pickens.
And I'll just give you not a Ferguson trade scenario, but like in our podcast league. So I'll just, full disclosure, in our podcast league, I have the team I share with Todd Rones. We have Tucker Kraft and Mason Taylor, and we lost Malik Neighbors. So we need receiver help. And I went and looked, and I'm like, there's not a team in that league that I think would give me what I'm looking for Mason Taylor right now.
It's a 14-team league, too.
But that's I said to you on Sunday, I think, or Monday, I don't remember what it was. I was like, I need a wide receiver 3 so much more than I need a tight end right now in my leagues. Like tight ends, there's enough of them that you just feel comfortable starting.
And I said this to Todd yesterday. I said, we should try and shop Mason Taylor, and he's like, oh, what are we getting in return from at this point? Like the name that he throws, like, are we getting like a Jacoby Myers type of receiver? I said, for what our team needs, Jacoby Myers would make some sense for Mason Taylor, but I think in the case of the Myers manager, like that's hard to give up right now, even though he's struggling.
Okay. The thing about Mason Taylor, and the Jets in general, is they just played the Dolphins and the Cowboys. I'll
change the name. Forget about it. I don't want to make Mason. Tucker Kraft. I don't even know if we could trade Tucker Kraft for what we're looking for and just stick with Taylor.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. By the way, I just think that I think we have to acknowledge the Cowboys are probably the best fantasy team for offense for fantasy, right? I mean, they have a pretty tough schedule going forward, but they look like Green Bay was going to be a tough matchup, and Dak Prescott scored 30 something fantasy points, so they had a huge game
without CeeDee
Lamb. They're just to my surprise the best fantasy offense. So if you're selling high on these guys, it's got to be very high. It's not just they're going to stink. Okay. Jamie, 2 sell highs, please.
I don't remember who I told you.
I think you had Jaylen Waddle on there.
Oh, yes.
And you had Stefon Diggs.
In the case of Waddle, look, he's in a great spot right now, clearly, coming off the game that he just had with Tyreek Hill being out for the season. I think he's going to be fantastic. But there's the what if Tua goes down question. What if he gets hurt question. Is this sustainable for him? This is just trying to maximize a guy that you drafted with a mid-round pick, probably as a borderline number 2, maybe a number 3 receiver. And if you could turn that into somebody who's struggling, that may give you some long-term appeal. It's just worth exploring. So
would you trade Waddle for AJ Brown?
I would. Yes.
Yeah, I think I might rather have Waddle.
I wouldn't trade him for Brian Thomas Jr.
I wouldn't trade him for T. Higgins either.
Would you rather have Waddle or Egbuka?
Egbuka.
Ibuka.
I don't know about that.
I do. I think he's legit at this point.
You should be able to get Waddle plus. Like I realized I didn't even talk about Egbuka, but like this is a shoot for the moon scenario. I do not believe he's going to be a top 12 fantasy wide receiver in the second half of the season when Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are both there. And so I wouldn't. Right. I wouldn't sell for less than a number one wide receiver or a wide receiver 13 and another starter or something like that. But he's currently wide receiver 3 in total fantasy points.
Yeah, Ibuka's doing a lot of his damage on deep balls. He has the second. If we define deep ball as 20 or more air yards, he has the second most deep ball targets behind Tyquan Thornton. He has the most yards and most touchdowns on these targets. That's Emeka Egbuka. But the encouraging thing is Egbuka also has 6 targets at or behind the line of scrimmage, which ranks 10th among wide receivers, same as Justin Jefferson, one more than Amon-Ra St. Brown. So they're giving him those easy fantasy points. And also but I just think what's nerve-wracking is that he seems to make his hay once or twice a game on these deep post routes in the end zone that you just wonder if he can keep that up. But man, he is so damn good. Waddle
He's also still learning the position. Look, I think in the case of Egbuka and Waddle, you're not giving these guys away for nothing. You're giving these guys away for superstars.
Yeah. All right. And then Diggs, he is third in yards per route run behind Jackson Smith-Njigba and Puka Nacua. He doesn't run that many routes yet. Why are we selling Diggs?
Again, just a guy that you're maximizing what his value is right now. Dave said running back is banged up. I mean, receiver's been the worst position in terms of injuries and, guys struggling at the top. Again, can you turn a player that you drafted later than a guy like Waddle, who was sitting on your bench in most cases? I mean, I don't think his start percentage, the last time I looked yesterday, was above 60%. So you can hopefully turn, like, I would trade Diggs in a heartbeat for AJ Brown. I would trade Diggs for T Higgins at this point. So I think there's some sustainable value here, but we're also talking about a guy still coming back from an ACL tear. While he looks great now, there's still the what if scenario. So maximize the potential while you can.
Here's the question I have on Diggs. Did he have his last 2 games were really good? Did he have those games because one was a matchup against his former team and he wanted revenge, and the other one was fairly easy matchup? He got lined up against the Panthers' second best corner and just shredded him all game long. And now that he's had those 2 big games, does he fall back in? Or is this is he evolving into what we were hoping he would be, which is the number 1 receiver for Drake May, the guy that May leans on all the time, and basically becomes what he was to Josh Allen when Allen was coming up in Buffalo and needed a big-time number 1 receiver? If you think he's going to end up being the number 1 guy and that this is who he is now, 8+ targets per game, potential for 100 yards against anybody, then you're not trading him because you won't accept anything that you'll think is fair in exchange. You're sky high on him. But if you think this is kind of flukish and what you've seen over the last couple of weeks, then maybe you do move on from him and see if you can parlay him into a better wide receiver.
Yeah, he's playing about 42% in the slot, which is good. He needs to be in the slot, I think.
Tell me, is that over just 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? How far back does that go?
That's for the season, but I think that's kind of been the trend. Is it's
right? Like I think he took over for Demario Douglas in the slot, and that's helped unlock him a little bit.
And he's still not running that many routes. Last week, Diggs played about 50% of the snaps. He did have a 64% route participation rate. The week before that, it was 82%. So I thought that we were finally getting to the point where Diggs was close to, a full-time receiver in terms of running the routes, but he wasn't in week 5. The thing is, they have such an easy schedule. I'm going to say it right now. I will take Diggs over T. Higgins. Jamie, the bet is on.
Okay.
What's the bet? Jamie will have to agree with every take you make.
We'll go double or nothing on the bet that you still haven't paid up on with the picture behind.
Oh, the picture. I really want to do that, actually. It's a fun one. I don't know why I haven't done that. Also, I'll be in town in January. I'll be in Florida for the Miami National Championship game. So I'll just, we'll go out to lunch or something when I'm there for that.
Oh, that's a great payoff for the audience.
All right, we'll take a break, come back. We do have to get to the buy highs, but we have to also preview Thursday Night Football, which is the game everyone's talking about. Here come the Giants after this.
When you need your sports news all the time,
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
Heath, Dave, what side of the bet would you take? Higgins or Diggs?
Diggs.
Oh, okay. Jamie's on Higgins Island. Guess what? Philadelphia is at the New York Giants.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, you're a Titans fan now.
I am a Titans fan now.
Yeah,
It's
root for
true.
the Giants, and you were an Eagles fan once upon a time.
I was. Don't bring that up.
Weren't you a Vikings fan
I
at
was
one
a
point?
huge Vikings fan I had a stretch. Yep, I had a stretch. Okay, so Eagles at the Giants. The Eagles, they are one of the slowest teams in football. I do think this is really hurting them. Only Miami has less time remaining on the play clock on average when they snap the ball, and they're not running that many plays, and they're 30th in yards per game.
But you know what? Here come the Giants.
Here come the Giants. Anyway, I don't know if the rankings. I know the first run of rankings are not necessarily going to be the accurate last ones, but do you have Hurts and Barkley and Brown? We'll get to Smith, I guess, separately. A little lower than you normally would, or are they the studs this week that we drafted them to be? Hurts, Barkley, Brown.
I have Barkley higher just with the narrative.
I have Hurts, I think, about where I have him last year, which is someone you start, but not a top 5 quarterback.
Yep.
And I think that the slow play, taking so long to get the things going and going slow, is a product of the offensive coordinator, and everything that's going wrong right now seems to be that they just don't have a good cohesive plan on offense. But here come the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
So you start Hurts. Barkley with the injury ding on a short week is just a little bit concerning, but he's a must start. And I think AJ Brown's a low end wide receiver too.
I'm just waiting. He's still getting the targets. Last week he stopped running on a deep ball. Otherwise it would have had a big play.
It seems like a lot of his targets are either catching a pass within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage where he gets just destroyed before he has a chance to turn upfield, or running 40 yards downfield and hoping Jalen Hurts puts it on target.
Well, the Giants give up big plays like it's their job. And just ask Rashid Shaheed, right? I mean, they're just really bad at this. I think only the Cowboys have given up.
Job.
What's that?
This is their job.
Well, they're not good at their job, but if that is their job, they're great at it. So I guess I was surprised that you all, I think, have AJ Brown as a number 2 receiver, right?
Yep, I do.
I think I just moved him to 24 this morning.
You're not going to start Kendrick Bourne over him, are you?
No.
Nope.
Okay. How about you're not going to start a Packers wide receiver over him? How many Chargers wide receivers would you start over AJ Brown?
I think just the one.
Which one?
Quentin Johnston.
I have Keenan Allen ahead of him too.
You can make the case for both McConkey and Allen. You can make the case for both of them over both Eagles receivers, because if the Chargers can't run the football against Miami, a sentence that will probably get laughed at 5 days from now. But if they can't, how do you replace that? Short throws, get the ball out quick, which Herbert's going to have to do pretty much anyway. And McConkey and Allen kind of have the same role. They could end up each getting 7+ targets.
I think the bigger risk,
a competitive game. Sorry, if it ends up being a competitive game, those guys can end up in PPR being better than both Eagles receivers. You can make that case. Yes.
I don't worry about the Chargers game script. I worry that the Eagles last week decided to make their wide receivers happy and lost the game. And now they're facing just a miserable Giants offense. Like, the Giants might score 10 points. The Eagles might throw 18 passes again.
Could I put on the tinfoil hat?
Mm-hmm.
Did Saquon get banged up in that game, and that's why they got away from him running the ball? And now he's on the injury report with just soreness.
Interesting. But he hasn't run the ball that well.
No, he hasn't. And is Dickerson playing for Philly at guard?
He's not expected to. Report was he'll be out 1 to 2 weeks.
Okay, so that makes the offensive line a little bit worse.
The Giants give up 5.6 yards per play to running backs.
I get it. But if he's already inefficient against other defenses, look, we're starting Saquon Barkley. It doesn't make any difference. I told you this is the tinfoil hat. That's all.
No, but I think it's a good question that Heath brings up: is are they just going to be able to run the ball so much? Have one of their
It's entirely possible. You know, one of the things they
games.
didn't do last week. Sorry, Adam. One of the things they didn't do last week was let Hurts run. He only had 2 carries for 3 yards.
Yeah. Broncos are very good at taking away mobile quarterbacks, but that was
Justin Fields is in trouble this week.
That was extreme. That's I said on Sunday, the fewest amount of rushing yards in a game for Jalen Hurts since he became a starter. And for Barkley, he had 6 carries. I think it was one of the lowest totals of his career in any game he didn't leave with an injury. So you'd think maybe they get their run game right against this Giants team, but Giants give up points to receivers too. The Giants are equal opportunity. They'll let everybody score fantasy points on them. Would you start Michael Carter at Indianapolis or AJ Brown?
Brown.
I'd still go AJ Brown.
All right. How about Michael Carter or Devontae Smith?
Still Smith.
Yeah, I think it's Smith.
Okay. How about Derrick Henry or Devontae Smith? Henry against the Rams.
I'd go Carter over Henry.
I do have Carter over Henry. No, I've got Henry over Carter. I'd probably go Henry.
I have Henry over him right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep it that way.
Over who? Smith or Carter?
Over Smith.
Okay. T. Higgins at Green Bay or Devontae Smith?
Devontae.
Smith.
Yep.
All right. Smith is this like a number 2 receiver, number 2, 3? Something like
I
that?
had 3.
How do we feel about Dallas Goedert versus Theo Johnson? Who's your favorite tight end?
Goddard still.
I've got Theo higher.
I have Goddard higher as of now, but this is another one where you can make the case for Theo Johnson.
Are you ready to pick your jaw? I
Kelly Clarkson, Theo Johnson.
I thought your audio skipped or something. That was super fast.
No, that was all me.
You ready to
I love the targets that Theo Johnson's been getting over the last couple of weeks. Darius Slayton's not going to play. This Giants offense is going to stink on ice. And so Theo Johnson could end up falling into some pretty decent production.
All right. So
I think I am going to take Johnson over Goddard to be blunt.
Okay, I need to give this Dallas Goedert stat. It is your jaw is gonna hit the floor. Dallas Goedert has 3 targets from the 5-yard line or closer this season. That's as many as he has had in his previous 4 seasons combined. Kyle Pitts or tight end in this game?
Pitts.
Go ahead, Heath.
I just realized I think yesterday afternoon in the writing and rankings day, I missed that the Brian Dable's optimistic that Tyrone Tracy's back. So
yeah,
Cam Scatterbu is going to be about the most interesting guy.
Let's do it. Let's talk about Cam Scatterbu because Tyrone Tracy. So after the Dallas game, I think people thought Scatterbu was going to have the starting job and whatnot. Tyrone Tracy came out and actually had 7 carries and 2 catches, played 17% of the snaps in that game. So he was the starter playing ahead of Scatterbu. I would think Scatterbu's got the job, but I don't know. I know he's got the goal line job. But yeah, I mean, I can't imagine anyone starting Tracy, but the Eagles actually 8th most fantasy points allowed to running backs, 4.4 yards per carry, 9th most receiving yards per game to running backs. Hasn't been that tough of a matchup. So starter sit Cam Scatterbu, Heath.
If Tracy's active, then Scatterbu is going to be in that Michael Carter, Derrick Henry range, probably just outside of the top 24 running backs.
Anyone else on Scatterbu?
He's in that range for sure. I've got him as. Oh, sorry.
I'd be higher. I'd start him over Henry still. I'd start him over Carter still.
Okay. Would you start Cam Scatterbu? Or
I do think we see both of them on the field together with the injuries to the receiver spot.
Cam Scatterbu or Alvin Kamara against the Patriots?
Scatterbu. I want no part of Kamara this week.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would still have Scatterbu. I think the interesting thing will be I don't think this game script's going to line up for a running back on the Giants to have success running the football. We've seen Scatterbu heavily involved in the passing game when they're chasing the score. Are those targets now going to Tracy?
Yeah, it's a great question. Last one, Scatterbu or David Montgomery at Kansas City?
If Tracy plays, I'll take Montgomery.
I'll take Scatterboo.
I'll probably be Scatterbury.
Over under 11 PPR fantasy points. Wan'Dale Robinson.
Over.
He can get to 12.
That's a good number. I have him projected for 11.08, so I guess over.
All right, I got some questions in the chat. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt or AJ Brown?
Krosky-Merritt.
Yes.
I think it's got to be Bill.
Hurts or Sam Darnold?
Hurts.
Hurts.
Got to be Hurts.
Darnold has the Jaguars. Goddard or Mason Taylor?
Taylor.
Especially if it's PPR.
Taylor against the Broncos. Hurts or Matthew Stafford against Baltimore?
Hurts.
Stafford.
I am tempted to go Stafford. I have Hurts higher as of now.
Assuming Chuba Hubbard is out, Rico Dowdle against Dallas or AJ Brown?
Rico.
Dowdle.
Jake Tongas or a tight end in this game?
Tongas.
I think we're going to have to watch the injury report. If one of those wide receivers is back, then I'll take Theo. But if we're just questioning whether they're back, then I think you can wait on Tongas.
And last one, AJ Brown, Chris Olave, or Michael Carter?
Brown.
2 Browns and an Olave. I think I heard there.
Yep.
All right, start the Eagles DST. And the Eagles DST, by the way, they have the Giants, Vikings, and Giants in their next 3 games. So good schedule coming up for them. That is it for Thursday Night Football.
Nah.
Okay, we got 2 segments left, Buy High and Fantasy Feud. I really want to play the Feud, so let's try to do 5 minutes on each segment. Buy High, I asked on Twitter, who are you buying high on? They got off to great starts, and you're just buying it. Man versus Life says, give me Rico. Give me Rico, Dave. Worst case looks like he splits 50-50 when Chuba comes back, or he takes over. Buy high on Rico.
So if we're buying high on Rico, does that mean that we're viewing him as like a top 15 running back rest of season? We're going to have 1 game against Miami.
Feels a little high.
Feels too high.
Do not buy high on Rico. I do not think.
But I do think that, he has another good game against Dallas. We're definitely going to have a conversation about what happens to Chuba, what happens to Rico once Chuba comes back. I don't think this is going to be a case where Chuba just gets his old workload back. I mean, he was kind of losing that workload before he got hurt. We're going to see a split, and it might be in Rico's favor, but I don't know if it's enough to make Rico a top 15 running back.
I'm just not super excited about buying a running back who we think is going to be splitting on the Panthers.
Right. You can't give up too much to get him. Carolina does have a good schedule rest of season.
All right, buy high from Red Eye Jedi. Buy high on Quinshon Judkins is offering Egbuka or Rice too high or low for Quinshon Judkins.
I mean, you generally have to overpay for running backs that are doing well. So I would say that's a fair trade, even though the potential or production for Rice and Egbuka might be better than Judkins rest of the season, but it's harder to find workhorse running backs like what Judkins has done. So I think that's a fair trade.
Rice especially.
24 or 25 touches in 2 straight games. So I think we would definitely sign off on buy high on Judkins. Modest Make, buy high on Dak Prescott. Yeah, I'm like all in on this, but he has a tough schedule, but I have a team that's 1-4 and I have Josh Allen, and I'm going to try to get Dak Prescott and a starter for Josh Allen. I don't know if you guys are as enthusiastic as I am, but
no,
depends who the or is.
Right.
You know what? I'll look right now. I'll see if I can make this trade. Next up is Travis Etienne from AJ. He says, buy high on Travis Etienne.
No.
I don't like it.
Oh. Heath?
Yeah, I'll buy high on Travis Etienne in analyst leagues and probably not in regular people leagues, because I think the majority of analysts still have some hope that Bashal Tutin's coming to be even better than Travis Etienne's spectacular play so far this year. But if you're talking about buying him, we were drafting him as RB 30-ish. And we're saying we're going to buy him as a top 20 running back. I would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Top 12, no.
I guess the question would be, so far in these discussions, we have one example of what you're trading for these players. So like Egbuka and Rice for Judkins makes some sense to me. What are you trading to get Travis Etienne as a buy high?
Would you give up George Kittle for him?
No.
Would you give up Deebo or George Pickens for him?
Yes.
That I think is in the discussion. Yes.
There you go.
Keith, I don't even remember offering you this trade. I offered you James Cook for Saquon Barkley and T. Higgins. In the IDP.
What league are we in?
IDP.
Huh.
Yeah. Go for it. I mean, if you'd like to accept it. What about my Josh Allen for Quentin Johnston and Dak Prescott?
If you can get it, sure.
All right, I'll propose it. See what happens.
That's not enough for Allen.
I don't think.
I think
it
might
sounds
be
like
too
you're
much.
doing a lot of trading one great player for two good players.
Yeah.
Your McCaffrey trade was good. Your other trade was terrible.
No, look, I'm 1-4 in this league. I've got injuries. I've lost players. I need bodies. I need people. I can't just rely on one guy to help me. I think that's kind of.
Well, it seems like you just targeted one team, though.
What's that?
It seems like you just targeted one team as your Josh Allen trade.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's the first trade I've made. First trade offer I've made. But
Which
Dak
league is this?
IDP.
Yeah, I can't help you. My team stinks.
This was my favorite team. This was my neighbor's Brian Thomas team. And
Somehow, when he was hurt, Justin Fields was available in that league, which saved me because I lost Lamar Jackson.
Oh, wow. Yogi Danza says buy high on Tyler Warren. And I would just say,
Yeah.
Tyler Warren, 16 targets in his first 2 games, 15 targets in his last 3 games. So 5 per game. And they don't throw much. They throw about 30 times a game. So are we buying high on Tyler Warren?
Yeah,
Warren or Ferguson rest of season?
Ferguson.
Tough.
Yeah, I'm not
call.
sure. Yeah.
Tough call there. I'd have to, yeah.
It was nice to see Warren score a touchdown in the
Back-to-back games.
Well, yes, a receiving touchdown.
Romo Dunze, buy high on Romo Dunze. This is a guy who's had 70 yards once. He's had 60 yards in 3 of 4 games, but has been 5 touchdowns in 4 games. So this one I question here. Should we buy high on Romo Dunze or should we actually sell high on Romo Dunze?
I
prefer
think he's worth it.
Yeah, I think he's worth it too.
Just basically buying
Just
it.
don't overpay.
Bears offense coming out of the bye is going to be one of the most interesting things to watch, just in terms of like, are they going to try to get DJ Moore actually involved, or is it Luther Burden time?
Okay.
Might just be time for more Odunze.
It might be time for the feud. All right, here we go. Here we go. Round 1. Give me Jamie. Give me Heath. Top 5 answers are on the board. You have to buzz in by saying your name. And in this opening part, it's whoever can get the number 1 answer or the highest answer. Okay. Top 5 answers are on the board. I did remove 2 players because I don't think you'd ever guess them.
Oh my God, your A's are statting the food.
If we guess the players we would never guess, do we get a miss, or do we just get to guess again and like a gold star?
I already.
Like if I guess somebody that you took out of the equation,
you don't get an X. You can just
Okay.
keep going. Yeah.
okay.
All right, fine. I was going to say who I removed, but I won't.
Well,
say.
why don't you
No,
give
you
the?
can't do that.
Yeah, well, he could because he's going to say what the category is.
I don't think anyone would have gotten them. They're pretty random. But top 5 wide receivers, fantasy points per target.
Kevontae Turpin. No.
No.
That's not your name, sir.
Top 5 wide receivers,
Heath.
fantasy points per target. Heath.
Roman Dunze.
Looking for my wrong buzzer.
Bah.
Jamie.
I didn't even hear the question was. I was just going to say some random name. So I was thinking, what was it again?
It's top 5 answers are on the board. Wide receivers, fantasy points per target.
Emeka Egbuka.
He is number 3, and the board is yours. Pass or play.
It's always more fun to pass. I'll pass.
Oh yeah. This
Okay.
is a terrible game. Okay. So I'm up.
You're up.
Can I get a Trey Tucker?
Oh, dude, that was one of the names I removed.
What?
I was like, they're never going to get Trey Tucker.
What?
Way to go. All right. You don't get
I
it.
think Heath wins. I think feud is over.
I'm disgusted with you.
You don't
Yeah,
get
this is it.
what's the big deal? It's 5-5 like Jamie left. Come back.
Jamie quit on the feud.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, are
Trey
you
Tucker
kidding me?
Would have been on there, but okay. So I would have done the top 7. It would have been even harder.
Okay.
I'm trying to get
Not for
fantasy.
Heath, it's not.
More fantasy, guys.
George Pickens.
George Pickens is number 4.
Okay. Fantasy points per target at the wide receiver position. This is a dumb one, but I'm going to try it anyways. Tyquan Thornton.
That was the other name I removed.
You are awful.
I am so impressed by you. I am so impressed. That is very impressive. Good job.
It's not going to be impressive when I end up losing and then Jamie gets it because he names the one guy I didn't say.
But it doesn't matter because I would have done top 7 if that were the case. So you got
But you
the hard
didn't,
ones.
you knucklehead.
Top 5 other than Trey Tucker and Tyquan Thornton. Or we have Emeka, Egbuka, and George Pickens. We need 3 more fantasy points per target leaders at wide receiver.
I have
Please.
almost no idea.
1.
Zay Flowers.
2 more guesses. We need numbers 1, 2, and 5.
Puka Nacua.
3, 2, 1. Say a name.
Drake London.
All right, Jamie. We've got 3 left on the board. Top 5 wide receivers in fantasy points per target.
Quentin Johnson.
Heath wins the round. Number 1, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 5, because number 2 is very surprising to me. Number 5, Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yes.
And number 2 is DK Metcalf.
That makes sense.
Scoring touchdowns.
One long run.
Not getting a lot of targets at all.
By the way, the way to have take it from the game show guy. The way to have asked that question is, aside from Trey Tucker and Tyquan Thornton, who are the top 5 in fantasy points?
That's exactly what I was going to do, and then they told me not to say it, and so I didn't.
Well, that's what you get for listening today.
Yeah, well, there you go.
He
All right.
deserves to win after getting those.
Yeah, I'm glad. I was going to ask you to throw it, Jamie.
Dave, who do you want to compete against this round? Jamie or Heath?
Let's make it Jamie, so that way Heath's waiting for, because Heath's already won one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay. Top 5 answers are on the board. I'm looking for team pass attempts per game leaders.
Jamie.
Dave.
I heard Jamie.
Cowboys.
They are number 2.
Pass.
Dave, you have a chance to get the number 1 answer.
Tampa Bay.
All right. Pass or play, Jamie?
Pass, of course.
Speaking of pass, Dave, top 5 answers are on the board. Team pass attempts per game.
The Rams.
They're number 4. We have Dallas at 2 and Rams at 4.
Chiefs.
They're number 5.
I can't believe I'm doing this well. Chicago. It's per game, right? Not total.
Per game. By the way, I removed numbers 4 and 6. All right, so far we have Dallas, the Rams, Kansas City. We're looking for number 1 and number 3 pass attempts per game.
Minnesota.
Minnesota threw about 42 passes the first 2 weeks with McCarthy.
One
more guess.
Miami.
3, 2, 1. Miami. Not a bad guess. All right, Jamie, your chance to steal. 2 left on the board. Heath knows. You have 10 seconds.
Oh, there's an yes.
It's not the
Saints or
Bengals.
How about the San Francisco 49ers?
Number 1, San Francisco 40.
How about the Cleveland Browns?
Number
the Saints on
3,
there?
Cleveland Browns. The Saints are not top 5. I don't know where they are. So it's Niners 1, Dallas 2, Cleveland, Rams, Kansas City. I don't know if I buy the Rams. The last 2 weeks have been super pass heavy for them. They were kind of run heavy before that. All right, last one. It is Dave versus Heath for the championship. This is not a fantasy question.
Oh, good.
Top 5 NFL teams, point differential leaders.
Dave. Buffalo.
That's number 5. Heath, you have a chance to beat that.
The Colts.
Colts are number 1, 74 plus 74. Pass or play, Heath?
I'll let Dave have a shot at it.
Really? Okay. You only have 3 to get here. We've got numbers 1 and 5, Colts and Bills. We're looking for the leaders in point differential.
I hate this game. Tampa. I'll go to Tampa again. Oh, Buffalo.
Tampa has the most.
I know. It's ridiculous.
Buffalo. Wait, didn't you already say Buffalo?
If they're 5th, then I guess I said Buffalo.
You did. I think I have to.
Oh, they're not on there twice, is what you're telling me.
Yeah, that's another X.
Yeah, that should be another X.
Yeah.
Wait, you said Bills twice?
Yeah.
I said Bills twice. What about the team in Orchard Park?
5, 4, 3.
I don't even
2,
care at this point.
1.
There's nothing I can say to
Say a name. All right, Heath. Hey, we already got the Colts and the Bills. We're looking for a top 5 team in point differential for the win. Heath Cummings.
Are the Lions on there?
The Lions are number 2. Heath
How about
always
that?
wins Fantasy Feud. Congratulations.
Thanks. I feel like that was maybe my best performance. Like I'm gonna clip this one. It's going in. We're gonna play this one when I go in the Fantasy Feud Hall of Fame.
Way to go, my
Wait,
friend.
hold on. Just rewind a second.
Oh, please.
Let me tell you this from the game show guy.
Yeah, all right.
All right, that was fun. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for watching and listening. Good luck in your leagues as we get it started tomorrow night with the big game. And have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you later on Fantasy Football Today.
Bill.